Welcome everyone to this session, Real-Time in E-commerce. It's great to have so many of you on the line, and I hope you're enjoying the format today. Obviously, we from the German team would love to be in London to meet you all again, but I hope you agree that it is still a very successful format this year. And one of the many advantages is that we've been able to bring many more people, certainly from abroad, to the Apteco Live. So we have twice as many participants from the German region, so Germany, Austria, and Switzerland alone. So that's fantastic news. And good morning to those in the UK, good afternoon to those in continental Europe, and good evening to those in Australia, probably a very late evening now. Just a bit of housekeeping before we get going. So this session is being recorded. We've muted everyone's microphones, as we just mentioned. So at the end, we're hoping we can unmute you in case you want to ask a question live. But please feel free to submit questions into the chat window during the presentation, and we'll try to monitor that. If we can't get back to you in time, we'll obviously answer you after the event. And we're hoping that our head of development, so Simon Holderness, will be on the line as well at the end in case you want to ask any detailed technical questions about real-time and our plans. So what are we going to focus on today? So it's a live use case based around an onboarding campaign. So it's got two triggers in it, so a new customer registration and a change of profile details. And to set the scene, let's get straight into it now. So hopefully you can see right now a yoga website. So I was talking to my family recently, and we were exploring or discussing whether there were any benefits from the lockdown. And I must say, for me personally, my attendance at my yoga class has rocketed during lockdown. So whereas normally I can manage maybe 2 or 3 classes a month, right now it's 4 days a week, which is fantastic. And so I stumbled across this website, and as you can see here, there's some pretty cool yoga gear, and maybe it's a good time to buy a new yoga mat or so. So the first thing I'm going to do is go in and create an account. So I'm just going to enter some personal details, mail, and my email address, so martin.clark.apteco@gmail.com, and a password. And password confirmation. Good. So my account has been created by the looks of it. You can see here, so Martin Clark. Thanks for registering with the website. As you'll see at the top, this is a demo store. So yeah, it looks like I'm set up. We'll now go back to the presentation, and yeah, just a few words around real time. So what is real time? What does it mean? Of course, there are different flavors of real time, and these flavors are really determined around the speed of response, or how quickly do you need to communicate with your audience. So that itself is determined by different use cases. So for example here, if you're on a Zoom call or so, you're talking about a millisecond type of response and communication. However, if the use case is something like a password reset, maybe a few seconds is fine. That would work for most people. Moving on to, let's say, minutes. So a typical use case here would be something like order confirmation. So you place your order on an online store like Luma, and just to make sure that your order has been taken, you're probably going to be looking at your mail, and it would be nice to know that within 1 or 2 minutes you get the confirmation. So that would be fine. And then there's a kind of time delay or lag of possibly hours or even days. So something like an online cart abandonment, although the trigger may come in very quickly, in milliseconds even, you may not actually want to send a message out immediately. You don't want to sort of pester people. So you may want to wait 4 or 8 hours and then send out something. And of course, you may want to apply some intelligence as well to, if it's an existing customer, look at, you know, which segments they're in, and maybe based on that segmentation, your message would be tailored as well. So, but definitely with some sort of time delay of probably several hours or maybe even a day or so. So different use cases, different delays in responding and communicating by design. And of course, there are two factors that influence the total time of delivery. One is the speed of the trigger itself. So if you're only pulling data, let's say every 15 minutes from a website or an email service provider, then obviously the speed of delivery is going to be at least 15 minutes. So, you know, you may not want to or shouldn't really expect to be able to send things out in milliseconds. And of course, what we see as well when we talk to customers often is that where they are today is sometimes, you know, for them, an event trigger could actually take a day or half a day to process and send a communication out. So if that's where you are today, maybe just going to 1 hour or half an hour or even 15 minutes is a great improvement. It doesn't always have to be straight to millisecond type of responses. So I'm just having a look at my email, and it looks like I've got something that's just come in. So let's just go to my Gmail account and take a quick look. Just taking a moment to refresh. So you can see that an email has just come in from Luma. And I'm just going to click on that. And so I've got a nice email based on my registration. So dear Mr. Clark, so personalized, and there's some information there. But what I'm interested here is this box here. So enter enter your mobile number, and it looks like there's some further vouchers available. So I'm going to click on that and go to my profile. And I did actually forget to put in my mobile number the first time around, so I'm now going to enter that. And save that. And we'll come back to that in just a minute. So real-time and event triggers are obviously linked together, and there are many use cases based around event triggers where real-time will make sense. And I was personally interested to read this recently by Scott Brinker. So many of you will know him or have heard about him from Chief Marketing Technologist in the US. And he shared something based on a study of a large number of email campaigns, which showed that event-triggered campaigns can be very effective, based in this case on click-through rate. So you see at the bottom the typical batch and blast email, so sending something to your entire subscriber base, and typical click-through rates of other event-triggered campaigns. So on average, 500% more effective, and in the case of onboarding, 800% more effective. So pretty good benefits, I think, to be investing time and effort in your event triggers in general. And I've just noticed that something has come in on my mobile, so I'm just going to mirror my screen. Hopefully you can see it pop up in a sec. It's just connecting, and hopefully you can see my mobile right now. I'm just going to go into my SMS screen, and you can see here I've just received an SMS. So this is German time, 12:48. Martin, so personalized. Thanks for adding your mobile number to your profile to get your 10% discount now. So I'm just going to click on that and see what happens. So that's pretty cool. It looks like I've gone straight through to create an Apple wallet, a mobile wallet, my Apple machine on my phone. So I can see again, it's personalized. So thank you, Martin. I've got an offer that's going to expire in 2 days, and I've got some sort of QR code, a barcode here at the bottom, and I'm going to get a 10% discount. So I'll definitely be looking to use that, and I'm going to add that to my wallet. And if I go in, have a quick look, and there you can see I've got my wallets. And the great thing about wallets are that you can actually, the brand can update different elements of this wallet. So just like a boarding gate change that you may receive on your boarding pass. For example, this offer expires, that could be updated, or maybe a new voucher or discount is made available. So it's a good way of communicating with your customers without necessarily having to have your own app. So I think that sounds pretty good. It's a good start. And before I hand over to Florian, I also just wanted to say that FastStats is really, of course, the ideal tool to investigate and explore what could contribute to possible event triggers. So it's obviously going to be very different based on different sectors. So today the focus is more e-commerce, but here you see, let's say if you're in the business, if moving home is important to you, let's say buying more than 10 cartons and paint, 1 or 2 months before you move, that could be the signal that you're looking for to identify the trigger, the event trigger. Or let's say someone suddenly purchases 3 shirts and a tie. Is that a signal that maybe they're starting a new job? And you can see other examples here. So the bottom right, for example, the classic bill shock where you're, let's say, increasing the tariff by 50 or more euros. That's obviously going to not come across particularly well to your customers, and maybe you want to proactively offer them a new tariff so that they don't change their energy provider. So FastStats is really the ideal tool to delve into your transaction data to determine what those event triggers are. And we'll now pass over to Florian. So he's going to explain a little bit what was happening technically behind the campaign and the use cases we just saw live. Okay, so over to you, Florian.
Thank you very much, Martin. So let me share my screen and then we can proceed. Okay, thank you very much, Martin. And yeah, also a warm welcome from my side. I'm here now from today. Martin is in Frankfurt, I'm in Aachen, and you're listening from the UK. So that's really a nice international meeting. And also our colleagues from Benelux are in this meeting, and some of our partners and customers. Okay, so let's have a look at these real-time use cases, what's in the background, behind the scenes. Only just a small hint, if you are interested in real-time communication between different devices, servers, and everything else, and want to learn about the low-level base of real-time communication, then I can recommend you to have a look at the IoT space. That's a very interesting point to learn about nice technical things. On the left-hand side, soldering some stuff to build a carbon dioxide sensor for the local school here. But that just as a small hint if you're interested in those parts technically. So those are the buzzwords that are around this space of real-time communication. We've already learned about different techniques or time intervals where Martin was talking about. I think one of the most important parts in the today's world are, for example, the REST APIs, for example. So those parts you can see over here, but also WebSockets. So for example, if you're using already Orbit, then it uses a combination of different techniques, but the most important parts for our real-time communication in today's world are REST APIs, WebSockets, and the webhooks stuff at the top left corner where I want to talk about a little bit much more. So if there are any questions, you can put it in the chat, or you can try to remind your question later when we are at the end of this session. Then we are able to unmute you, or you can then write your questions down. So this is a screenshot of the last presidential election in the US. And it was maybe pretty interesting to see what our websites websites are doing at that moment. Just as a quick introduction, you can see the website in the middle. It is built. It is pretty similar to the Sun in the UK. And if we take a brief look at the tracker that this website is using, those are 13 trackers. I mean, this is pretty good. Before GDPR became active in the EU, there were sites that had around 70 trackers. So you're going onto website and 70 other services about your visit, or that you are there with a cookie. So just to put it in a chart, that means you go onto the website. Doesn't mean if it's build.de or Sun or everything else, also Apteco. If you go on a website, this browser, this device communicates with other services that you are here now. It's not always necessary. It tells that Florian is here. It's just this cookie, this device is here. Or if you're logged into the website, it is able to say, okay, a customer number or this token is now on the website, and tells it those other services, which is also interesting because if you're visiting a website, Facebook, Google, Amazon, mostly all of the big ones then know about your visit and can combine all that data. So now we will see a bit more of a shift, because there are some laws in the pipeline where some people want to prohibit third-party cookies. In the end, those are third-party services, which are then contacted by the website, by the browser directly. But this will shift then to first-party cookies, first-party data. So that means that the server in the background that delivers the website, but could also be another server that is in your control, is also communicating with other services. So not only your browser is telling that other services, the server also is capable to do the communication. That has pros and cons. Pros are you can control the connection. You can make sure that, for example, your CRM or display network or your Apteco Marketing Suite is informed about your visit on the website. But on the other hand, means that the user in the browser loses control about the data that has been shared. But if this server does the communication, the performance of the website, for example, is much better, because not X services has to be contacted. So there are pros and cons about this architecture, but it just means that the servers are doing some things and the clients too. So let us go to the webhooks stuff, how that is working in a real world, in conjunction or in connected to the Apteco Marketing Suite. So how does it work? So I have an example that I've built up with our technical partner Syniverse in this example, and you can see, I can try to put in my magnifying glass. You can see I'm writing here a message, hello world, to a specific mobile number that is connected to our Syniverse account. Then this SMS is sent to the mobile provider. It could be Orange or Telecom or something else. Then this SMS is sent to Syniverse. They are saving that information, and Syniverse, as other services like GitHub and Salesforce and other services, they are able to offer a service to other servers to hook into some events. So what does it mean? It means I'm sending an SMS, a hello world, Syniverse received that, and I have hooked in our Linux server. This is only a small kind of receiver server that is hooked into that Syniverse service. And every time when something happens on the Syniverse side, I click in the SMS, someone has received that SMS, someone has sent an SMS to that service. Every time an event happens, we are hooked into that one, and we are receiving that specific event, and then we can do something about it. So you can see in here that information, there's some technical things in there, but you can also see the hello world in there. So that means in the moment something happens, other services are getting notified automatically. You just have to receive it, and then you can do much more things about that. In our case, in our example, for example, we can put that information into a file or put it in a database or in a NoSQL place, or we can put it directly in a script, or we can put it in this example into the SQL server, which is then able to be the source for live data and people stage. So we can then communicate through live data using that information, using that trigger, and use that for the next communication. And that is the example that you've already seen with Martin in the real world out there. So we have built up the website, and you can see it on the left-hand side, our Apteco Luma shop, which is on the base of Magento, but that doesn't matter. There are more web shops using these techniques. And then this website has a server, and where that server is hosted on, there is a small webhooks service that is able to use that Magento data. And every time something changes, there's a new customer, there's a deleted, there's an updated customer, there's a new shipment, there's a new order, there's a cart abandonment. So we have different events in there, and every time these events are happening, then this information is sent to that webhooks service, that small Linux server I was talking about, and that one is connected to our database, and then could be used via live data, via people stage, and use the channel. So the example that Martin has made, for example, is he's going onto the website, he's registering himself, then our environment, our Apteco environment is getting notified about the new user Martin. We have all the information we need, we have the email address, and then we were able to send out the email straight away. You can see it also in this campaign. This is the real campaign that is running in the background for this one. And where's the spotlight? There's a spotlight. So there is a live data selection over here that is coming through this part, sending an transactional email. So it's not waiting for a big list of emails and then batch and blast. It's more like, oh, there's an email address. I have to do the communication and just send it out in single instances, which makes it much faster than waiting for a big batch to be sent out. And then in the next step, Martin was waiting just in the middle of this campaign in this pool. He was waiting for the next events. And one of the next events is we wanted to motivate him to enter his mobile number. And that doesn't need, it has to happen, but it happened. We invited him, we've written in an email that he can enter his mobile number. And in the moment he enters his mobile number, that is also a new event for the webhook. The web shop then notifies all hooked in services like the Apteco world. And then our server, our people stage system was able to take over and was able to use that mobile number straight away, connected with his customer ID. And you can see it over here. If I go into the our SMS editor in people stage, this is more textual information, but here you can see the different tokens, the different variables we are using here to personalize that information. A nice thing here about the SMS Syniverse example, that we have a link in here, and that link, for example, contains a communication key. That's an ID that is unique per communication. We have the first name in here, so we can personalize that wallet that will be created later. So that is the link for creating the wallet, and it's a personalized link. So Syniverse automatically uses that link, creates a personalized link, a short URL for it, puts it then into the SMS. So we have an URL recognizer in there. And the nice thing is also if you click on the link in the SMS, we are getting notified via this webhooks thing that you not only have received that SMS, also you have clicked in a link in a SMS, like in the email. We can see the click, and also when a wallet was created, we are also getting notified about the creation of the wallet, and with some more technical information like the operating system and other stuff around it. And then, Martin takes that loop for adding the mobile number, getting a voucher, and then we have much more communication. We can then use dependent on the communication information we have, the email address we have for sure, but also if someone entered his address, then can maybe send a postcard in this example. And for example, we could use our partner Bertelsmann in Germany here to send out personalized print postcards. But we can also use the SMS or wallet push reminder. So the wallet push works like a push notification in apps without the need of installing an app. It's just if you have a wallet on iOS, you can use it to send personalized communication to it. That's also a pretty nice technique, and that opens up much more possibilities. We have more channels we can use now to test to see which channel is the best to communicate with a customer. So pretty nice techniques we can bring here together, and this is how it is working now. And just to give you a small hint of the future, how we want it to work in the future, because now we have a 1 minute schedule in PeopleStage, and that is something we cannot change at the moment. So that means PeopleStage is looking every minute for some new records to process. So that was fine for this example, but you realize Martin has always made some slides between the creation of the account, then showing that email. That was always around 60 to 90 seconds delay. It was only milliseconds in receiving that information, but then after PeopleStage took that up and has to send out the transaction email, that took a few seconds to process. But we want to deliver something for next year that is more reactive, more on the reactive side. So we have more possibilities. We can react directly on events that are happening. So this is the thing we want to do. This box here, this is the Apteco world, and we want to have something that is internally called now a reactive queue or reactive subscription service. So we want to have something on the server that is able to listen somewhere else. So we want to listen to maybe a REST API or a webhook service like I've built up here in this example. But also, maybe can listen to other databases, other web services. So we want to build a very flexible system that is able to listen, and then if there's something happening, directly straight away do something with it. And that reactive subscription service then works together with PeopleStage. And then we want to be as quick as possible to use that event, process it in a campaign, and then send it directly through the channel. And that will only work if we leave some parts out that we are doing now. So for example, loading data from Faststats, that works in parts of seconds or sometimes in seconds, depends on the size of your Faststats data store. But the Faststats data store is not fast enough to deliver, I don't know, 1,000 single records per second or something. So it's more like handling big stuff, but it's not the right technology to handle single rows and enrich other information with those ones. So this is why we're using something that we've published, I think 3 or 4 years ago, something which we will redevelop now. It's called the Pull Marketing Store. So Fastsets is then able in regular schedule to update this Pull Marketing Store, where it puts in customer information, transaction information, some personalized information, maybe segments or scores. Everything that is Fastsets knows is put into this Pull Marketing Store, which is not able to maybe handle big queries, but to be able to handle those single line queries to be as quick as possible. And this Pull Marketing Store then can be used to enrich the information through PeopleStage and send it to the channel. And there are some other things that we maybe left out. Some maybe some complex constraints will fall in this kind of campaign. And also the communication history will be written later, not at the moment when it be sent out. So we want to deliver a process that is as fast as it could be, and then things that are not necessary at that moment are done later. And this is our only small example how we can use those things. So for example, if you want to enrich your website with personalized information, you could only use the Pull Marketing Store straight away, for example, to see, okay, Florian is in the VIP segment, and this is the next banner you should show. But there's also maybe the example where entering a store so you're entering a store, and then that reactive service gets notified. PeopleStage processes that information, uses information from the Pull Marketing Store, and sends the message back via a preferred channel, personalized with the name, but also maybe the segment or the next best offer that is already pre-calculated via Fastsets, and yeah, used in this kind of information. And then in the moment you are entering the store, all these services are used to improve your customer experience when you are in the store, when it is when you're able to do this again. So we have to prepare for times after the lockdown periods. So I will be back on the questions part, but I will now hand over back to Martin.
Thank you, Florian. Thank you for that description of both how the campaign is worked today, the one that we showed live, the use case, and also what we're planning to develop in the near future. I thought you might be interested in this to just see where real-time marketing is in the so-called hype cycle for digital marketing, so published by Gartner, and you can see it's right at the peak right now, and is estimated to go into maturity in quite a long time, actually 5 to 10 years. So now is an ideal time to start testing, start trialing different use cases as real-time marketing. And of course, as the context becomes more and more important, so the context being, you know, are you on the website, are you in the store, as that becomes more important in marketing, then real-time is going to be something that all marketers are going to have to deal with. So just to summarize the plans for next year, so Apteco is planning to develop live data to the next level, so to speak. So we're planning to have something ready for you to use by the second quarter release, so quite soon. And really a question for you is, do you have any data stream use cases that you could share with us? If you want to contribute towards the development, please reach out to us either after the session today or in the coming days or weeks ahead. We'd love to hear from you, and that just makes sure that we're actually developing things that you want. So please do speak to us about that. So the key takeaways for today are: one, with the existing Apteco technologies, it's already possible to execute near real-time campaigns, and we saw that live today. So everything that we showed today was live. So with the email going out in about a minute after I registered on the website, and then when I entered my telephone number, my mobile number, getting the SMS and then the Apple Wallet and we'll be moving from minutes to seconds in 2021, so exciting. We also learned about event triggers and how they can boost campaign conversion. So if you're not using events, or if you haven't set up event trigger campaigns, maybe that's something for 2021 as well. And particularly in combination with fast stats to really analyze your transaction data to really work out what possible event triggers you can predict or foresee with signals. That's an area that's probably worth investing in next year. And also, I hope we could show today as well that you can enhance the customer experience by mixing things up a bit. So today we had email and SMS, Apple Wallet. Maybe next year is a good time to try out bringing more channels into your campaigns. Apteco supports 8 categories of channels. It's a strength of the Apteco Marketing Suite, being able to handle all of that with the communication key as well and contact history. So that's something that is worth investing in. And really, what we've shown today as well is that not everything has to go through your central data collection. So there's a lot of talk about CDPs, and there are many benefits of having a customer data platform. But sometimes there will always be applications outside of your central data store. And with these marketing meshes you can think of, instead of centralizing everything, it is possible with REST APIs, webhooks, as Florian has shown today, to process information in near real time and increasingly millisecond real time in the Apteco Marketing Suite. So again, this offers opportunity for you to try things out next year to effectively improve your marketing. So thank you very much for listening to our session today. If you have any questions after the event, please send us an email directly or give us a call, Florian and myself here in Germany. And if you'd like to try out the system that we showed today, just go to this address, shop.apteco.io, and just try the scenario that I showed you earlier. So create an account with your email address, maybe leave your telephone number out, wait till you get that email, and then go back, enter your telephone number, your mobile number, and hopefully you'll get the SMS. So, but just don't expect any Black Friday discounts later this week. It doesn't actually deliver, this website. If there are any questions now, please feel free to add them to the chat.
Okay, so we have 3 minutes left until the next point in the agenda starts. So we got one question: if we are going to manage the consent of the user, so it's more like email, cookies, different technologies, or if known trust centers should be used. So we don't have any plans for developing separate consent trust centers. So in this case, in our scenario, the consent is managed through, for example, the consent of creating that account is handled in the web shop, and the consent of the email is then handled through the email service. But we don't have used and the cookie consent is on the website itself. So we won't develop a trust center delivered by Apteco. That is the plan now, but let's see what the future brings.
That's a whole, that's a whole category, a separate category. Consent management platforms. You'll hear more and more about those, and there are specialist providers that just do that.
Yeah, we are using that information and also connecting it via APIs to this. So, for example, when there's a consent, telling it via a webhook to a webhook's receiver. That is the right use case for that one. If there are more questions, you can unmute yourself now. We have allowed it. Or you can just write in the chat. If we wanted to do the real-time event, can fastest data be useful to run the process or need to have the pro marketing store? Yeah, I mean, the live use case we had today, the live data use case was already using data that is in Fastset. So that is already possible now. But in the future, if we want to use that kind of reactive service, which will be able to communicate in parts of seconds, then we would plan to use that pull marketing store, but maybe there's also a hybrid solution where it could be switched on to use that fast stats data. So that is not developed for now.
Good. We've got just 1 minute before the next session kicks off, so the wrap up for today. So I think we'll close this session. Thank you very much for joining, and I hope you found it useful, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much. And
thanks.
goodbye.
Bye.